Subconscious mind mastery, 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 mastery.
Welcome to the Subconscious Mind Mastery Podcast. Thomas Miller along with Fred Dodson, and we're here in the middle of March Fun-Ness, and we're going to get some of Fred's thoughts on some of the top tips and techniques that we can use to increase our intuitive connection and also to bring about manifestations. I'd like to start with something that I didn't include in the email that I sent you, but I think it's a better way to look at this. So if you don't mind, play along with me here and just close your eyes. And I'd like you to go into just a little visualization for yourself. This is safe, no tricks. Just picture that you're on a beautiful beach meditating. Maybe it's a beach that you've been to, or maybe it's one that you'd create in the AI of your mind. And you hear a little clink in the rocks, and you squint your eyes open to see a bottle that has come ashore. And you can tell that it has a big label on it, big label that says Fred. So you walk over and you check it out. It's safe, it's clear. You can see that there's a note inside. So you open it up, and the note says, "Congratulations. You've been granted a 30-day window where every intuitive response that you've ever had will be increased. All of your manifesting techniques will work brilliantly and quickly, and that you will use this ability not only for your own good, you'll use it to help raise the consciousness of the planet." And it basically says, what are you going to do with your time? 30 days window, and then it will go back to normal. Not that that's bad, but this is amplified. So now, with that in mind and that context, come back to us here now. And having just had that whoa gift from the universe unexpectedly while you were just kind of doing your thing, what would be some of the top strategies, exercises, techniques that you would use?
Well, I'd actually use the 30-day window that you so generally shared with us to explore some of the things that I haven't been able to penetrate yet in terms of remote viewing, believe it or not. So I'd use my 30-day window, my opening, to remote view things that have been blocked from me, to figure out even more and more and more. I'm not going to say any more on this because it's kind of private, but that's what I'd use it for. It's not necessarily anything to do with manifestation, but that's your answer.
Yeah, no, and that's a great thing. All right, then, because obviously part of this was to help raise the collective, this is not about just a personal benefit, although that's attached. It's also about a collective benefit. So if you were just explaining in an elevator pitch, you hit the 9th floor, you've got about 45 seconds or a minute, how would you explain the remote viewing technique?
You put your attention on something you'd like to know, something you'd like to see, and you try to reduce all the noise, make your mind real quiet, and stay neutral as possible so that there's no bias. I want this, I want it to be this or that, none of that. Just be with what is as it is. And as you do so, you should normally already pick up on it. Consciousness does have that capacity. It's really as simple as that.
Well, and that's excellent because we just hit the 9th floor. So perfect. That's good. Sorry, got to go. Have a nice day. But all right, but let's say that a friend comes running up to you on that beach and they say, Fred, I just got this bottle. And you're holding yours up and you go, what, this one? Yeah. What technique are you going to use? And you say remote viewing and say, look, I don't even know where to start, man. Like, I want to take advantage of this, but I have no idea where to start. Give them an idea of a technique that has worked well for you over the years that would fit this context.
The most important thing is you never just look for subconscious stuff. You always look for subconscious stuff in relation to an intention or a goal, something you'd like to manifest, okay? And then I'd say you voice the thing you'd like to manifest in the present tense, and then check for how you feel about what you just voiced. Okay, say your word has power. Your word can manifest anything instantly. But if you're a beginner, I'd stay within the domain that you're in. In other words, if you're the mayor of New York, you're not going to manifest that I'm going to take over Canada because you're the mayor of New York. That's not your domain. Now, if you're the president of the US, you might make the intention, I'm going to take over Canada. Okay, but not as the mayor of New York. So you stay within your domain. You make a sentence of anything you'd like to manifest, money, relationship, and then you need to check how you actually feel. And how you actually feel, that is your subconscious. So you don't have to go looking for subconscious programs. The thought that instantly comes up or the feeling that instantly comes up, that's what you really believe subconsciously. So I could state, well, I triple my earnings this month. This month, I triple my earnings. And then I'd have to check, how's my voice? Is my voice strong or is it quivering? Is it shaky? Do I laugh about it as if, or do I feel scared? Or do I feel, well, it could happen, maybe. So that's probably the quickest way to deal with all of this. You just say it as if it's decided, as if it's firm, irrevocable, very simple, okay? This is the way it is. I've decided that, and then you see how you really feel. And then however you really feel, there's different ways to deal with that. One of the main ways I describe in my book, The Reality Creation Technique. I have many other ways to deal with it on my website and my videos, membership site, all that. But you got to handle that somehow, how you really feel, what you really believe versus what you want to believe, okay? So, for example, you could acknowledge how you really feel, or you could voice how you really feel, or exaggerate how you really feel, or what you really think, and then you could go back to the intention statement. I triple my income in the next 3 months. And how do I feel about it now? Yeah, there's still a little bit of a lingering, oh, I don't know about this. So I'll go back again. I triple my income within the next 3 months. I don't know about this. I triple my income within the next 3 months. That is the reality creation technique. That's the best I know so far, because it doesn't suppress that which is.
All right. That was going to be my second question, is which of your audiobooks would you recommend to this friend that he listened to or she listened to over this 30-day window? I think you might have just suggested it.
Absolutely, the reality creation technique. I mean, that should be standard in every school. That should be standard in your life, an awareness of what you want to believe versus actually believe.
Now, it doesn't have to be just one book. Are there any others you would say, oh, you must listen to this one?
For now, I'll just say the reality creation technique, because the topic of your March Fun-Ness is manifesting, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's about not dispersing attention to all kinds of other stuff. If the topic is manifesting, stick to that, stick to one technique, maybe two, or maybe variations of the one technique. Manifesting is actually about focusing, not about dispersing. And I say that to all listeners out there. If you're going to have a month of manifesting, then have a month of manifesting, and don't at the same time learn this and that and go there and there and there. Just have a month of manifesting.
Wow, that's great. All right. I was going to throw down, I think what I would recommend is intuition training. Simply because to me there's that crossover. It's not maybe as much of a technique, although there are a lot of techniques in there. I think I also would say that I would have to suggest the intuitive awareness method as well, because they really go together. I would, in other words, kind of a little intuition package there, because it seems like things that want to manifest obviously show up in our intuition, so we could draw those out.
That's a good idea. Otherwise, you're only going by your personal will rather than universal will, which is sent to you through intuition. Great idea. So those two should be part of the package. I agree.
All right, good. Now, the last question I was going to ask you, well, you really kind of answered in the first one, and I don't want to probe there, obviously, but it was what area would be left? I mean, last time you and I talked, which was the last podcast or the previous second podcast back, you said that life was overall pretty good as we were chatting. And presuming that that's the case, I mean, you're on the beach meditating, right? So life must be pretty good. It's the middle of winter in the Northern Hemisphere, so something's going right for you in our little imaginary scenario.
Once it's a good place to be, having achieved everything you wanted relationship-wise, money-wise, you're in your ability to help people-wise, health-wise, and I've achieved all that long ago. And you can tell that I've achieved that and that I've been very adventurous in the last years. So with my writing and the stuff I do, and I look for challenge. I also look for what people call negativity or darkness, something challenging to overcome. And remote viewing poses a lot of challenges to overcome, barriers. So you're looking for problems basically to transcend and overcome, looking for so-called negativity to transcend and overcome. And that's my situation. I look for challenge. In sports, I do a lot of sports. And I also take on certain students that have big challenges, incredible challenges. And I like that because I'm in a good place. If you're in a good place, you can take on bigger problems to dissolve. And that's not negativity. It's actually very positive to solve bigger problems. So remote viewing poses a lot of risks, actually, because if you remote view, you're astral traveling and you go into a realm that's full of darkness, full of evil.
Mm. Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if you know that, but it's a fact. And you want to gain certain information without getting contaminated by entities. That's challenging, Thomas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I want to know so much. I want to know about Mars. I want to know about the Ark of Covenant. I want to know about what goes on below Area 51. There's so much you can know through remote viewing.
That's excellent. So for the folks who haven't quite achieved that, like our friend who came running up, reality creation technique, number one suggestion, focus on a couple of techniques, stay with the basics. You outlined that technique and the book is short, so people can listen to it and they'll get it and they can use it for this whole time. And throw a little bit of intuition in there and see what happens. Because maybe if there's one hurdle that you're trying to clear, these next 30 days will help you do it. That's what we're betting on.
I just want to say one more thing. Your subconscious programs are revealed through resistance. If you feel resistance in life, you're running some kind of subconscious program that is contradictory to what you really want now. And every resistance you have is to do with something you used to want but no longer want. So there's a contradiction between your now decision and your previous decision or previous thought, so to speak. You thought things were this and this way, but now you want this and this, We're full of contradictions. We want chocolate and we want to lose weight. And in our mind, that's a contradiction. It doesn't have to be that way, but in most people's minds, that's a contradiction. And then we put in discipline to overcome the craving for chocolate. And that can work for some time, but too much of this discipline stuff means a person is not dealing with his or her inner subconscious contradictions and beliefs. that just don't match. Okay, be much better to actually address and consciously release the desire for chocolate, or release the idea that chocolate's going to make you fat, one of both, instead of constantly imposing discipline above the inner contradiction. And that's something I just wanted to share with everybody, that I find very important in manifesting.
I am so glad you mentioned that, because in the preliminary material when I kind of kicked this off, I mentioned lay resistance aside. In fact, the last time we talked, we called them rackets, borrowing from another term. But yeah, we create rackets all over our lives, and then we push against the exact outcome. And of course, that gives it wings and it flies away. So thank you for mentioning that. I appreciate it very much.
You're welcome. Take off your resistance glasses, folks.
Yes, exactly. That makes a world of difference. All right, Fred, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And
All
enjoy the journey.
You too. All the best.